Dylan Singh, Director of Student and Family Services. We're glad to have you all here again, especially since you are obviously here because you care about student safety, you care about your students at home and online. And tonight you'll hear from several different people, including myself, Dr. Edwards, Burke County Sheriff's Office. These are two SROs at some of our schools, Officer Young and Officer Barlow. Also have Ms. Leisure from the Burke County chapter of South Mountain Child Advocacy Center. So thank you for being here. And the questions, just have questions at the end, and we've got to answer those for you. But lots of information for you, and so we'll go ahead and get started here. First of all, be our tech department, Dr. Kristen Edwards.
Good evening. Thanks for having us this evening. I want to speak with you tonight about the measures that Burke County Public School has in place to keep your students safe while they're online. The first thing I want to talk with you about is that we do enable two-factor authentication for all administrative users in our Google admin suite and in our NC Ed Cloud. Google is where our email and Google Drive is, and there are some confidential student data that could be in there, and that is protected with two-factor authentication. NC Ed Cloud is linked to your student information system. You all probably recognize it as Infinite Campus, formerly Power School. And there is personal student data in there, including grades, date of birth, and we have two-factor authentication for all administrative users in NC Ed Cloud. The next thing I want to talk with you about are some resources provided to us through NCDPI. NCDPI provides us with a software called CrowdStrike, and what that does, it's a cybersecurity platform that it protects our K-12 institutions from cyber threats. It safeguards schools, student data, and administrative networks by detecting potential security risks, and it monitors in real time. CrowdStrike does things like providing endpoint protection. It provides threat detection and response to monitor for malware, ransomware, and unauthorized attempts on our secured network. It also provides incident investigation where real live security teams monitor our networks 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They provide us with information if there are any threats that are active. Our engineer team gets those and we can respond immediately. The next thing I'd like to mention is MCNC. This is our North Carolina Department of Public Instruction provides this as our internet service provider. MCNC provides content filtering and cybersecurity solutions to protect the North Carolina students, teachers, administrators while we're online. MCNC provides content filtering and DNS filtering, firewall rules to block inappropriate and harmful websites. It includes some of the website types that it detects and blocks are adult content websites, gambling, any kind of malware or phishing attempts. And I said this Tuesday, not phishing, F-I-S-H-I-N-G, like you're at the lake, but phishing in attempts, the P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G on the internet type of phishing, the not so fun kind. MCNC also provides us with CIPA compliance, which is the Children's Internet Protection Act. We all in North Carolina schools must follow those federal regulations, and so they make sure that we are in line with the federal guidelines. It provides us, again, with another layer of real-time threat detection. It scans for cyber attacks, malware attacks, ransomware, and it also blocks dangerous sites so students are not able to reach them. We are able, in addition to the state-provided policies that are put out for our internet service provider, we as a district can choose to strengthen those and add another layer of protection, so it is customizable for us to use. And it also monitors our network and security as another layer of protection. And I would like to note that MCNC is our internet service provider, your child has a Chromebook provided by Burke County Public Schools. When that Chromebook goes home and attaches to your internet at home, they have Wi-Fi access, but the content filtering goes back through MCNC, and those same filters are applied while that student is on the Burke County issued device. Another platform that we use throughout our district is called GoGuardian, and it's widely used throughout the state of North Carolina and the nation. That helps protect, it's another layer of protection for students while they're online. It provides us with more customizable web filtering and content monitoring and blocking. We can block inappropriate and harmful sites based on specific school policies and district policies that we set. It's another layer of protection to make sure that we enforce the CIPA compliance, which is the Children's Internet Privacy Act. It uses some AI monitoring to send to their reporters for explicit content. So it's always monitoring in the background. Another thing, GoGuardian is available to all of our teachers in the classroom, where they can set their classroom up to have monitoring of student devices. And so if a teacher is teaching a lesson, they can see, and they have 30 students in their classroom, they can see all 30 screens at one time to make sure that the students stay on task with the instruction that's being delivered that day. Another resource that we have is called Gaggle. Gaggle is a security measure that helps us with real-time content monitoring. Gaggle is, there's AI in the background, and it monitors all student Gmail and all student Google Drives. And when the AI detects that there could be something harmful, it sends that detection to a real live person. The real person then reviews the material and determines, is this harmful? Does this need to be escalated to the school? And if it's escalated to the school, someone at the school, the administrator or a school counselor is notified, and they can take action based on the content that is monitored and filtered out. Again, Gaggle scans student emails and student Google Drives. And then I talked about the human safety review. Some things that it monitors against are suicide and self-harm, and we get real-time, they're called QCon, questionable content. If something comes in an email or in Google Drive that is explicit of nature, it locks it down and quarantines it so it never even goes to the student. And it monitors for cyberbullying and threat detection. There have been instances where students were talking about fighting in the hallway, in back and forth in an email, and administrators are notified. They're able to go to that location and diffuse a situation before it ever becomes a situation. And so it's been very helpful in keeping our schools safe and ensuring students' health and well-being all the way around. Okay. And then finally, I'd like to talk with you about Neptune Navigate. This is a software that we have K-12. Mainly it is used in our media centers, and this is a digital citizenship program. Our media coordinators go through these lessons with students, sometimes in whole group as a discussion, but or sometimes they assign students modules to work through on their own, depending on the age level and the class time that's available. The material that's provided through Neptune Navigate is age specific, and so kindergarten students, elementary students are learning about ways to be safe online in a context that is familiar to them, and middle school and high school students the same as well. And so it talks about cybersecurity awareness, how to be a good digital citizen, and there is also a component called Continue the Conversation. And so parents, Neptune Navigate provides parents with resources, videos, handouts, so that you can continue the conversation about digital citizenship, online safety with your student at home. Sometimes, technology speeds up faster than we as parents can keep up, and so it's hard to know and understand and navigate those conversations. And so this platform provides us with resources to have conversations with our students about staying safe online. And Dr. Sane is going to speak about the Say Something app that we have.
All right, the Say Something app is one of the most popular apps among students. Okay, students in the building right now, we have one student here. Kids do not like to be called a snitch, right? Okay, so it's an anonymous reporting system that kids can use daily. It's on their class link on their computers, accessed by their phone. As long as they're logged into Burke County schools, they can access the Say Something tip app at school and at home. So as far as the tip app goes, for example, if I was an anonymous tipster, and I put a tip in that said, I'm worried about my friend Johnny. I feel like he's looking at stuff he shouldn't. It could be he's being abused at home. I'm worried he's looking at weapons. Anything that they feel could be a risk to school, they can turn that in without being known. And so it gives administrators an immediate text message alert when a tip comes in. Also goes to guidance counselors, it goes to SROs, and it comes back to me as well, so we follow, make sure things we taken care of. And really, it's a great thing that we use in our school system. Very rarely is it used inappropriately. Most of the time, we get 3 or 4 tips a day. We're able to navigate those and put them to rest. And it's one of our best apps that we have for kids to use to feel like they can have a voice and give information that's needed.
And finally, just some tips. I'm going to breeze through these because our partners with the Child Advocacy Center and our partners with law enforcement are going to hit them as well. But some things that you can do: ask questions. Sit down with your student, ask them what they're working on. If they have been spending 4 hours on some homework in their bedroom on a computer, ask them about that. I guarantee not many teachers, if any, are assigning 4 hours worth of homework a night. Set time limits on your child's device. Keep your devices in a common area, in a living room or in a dining room, somewhere where your child is not in a room behind closed doors. Model good behavior. Your child watches how you respond to things. They watch what you post. So emulate how you want your child to act online. Another thing is checking the geotags. That's the location services that are on your child's cell phone. Personally, I like to keep them turned off unless it's an app like Life360. Predators are out there and they can see your child's location if that feature is turned on. And again, our law enforcement is going to speak more to that. Check the share and privacy settings in every app that your child has. Go through them one by one and make sure that it's set to friends only and that their friends are people that they know and trust. So just be a vigilant parent, sit down with them, ask to see their phone, ask to see what they're doing online. And then you can also reach out and get an online protection plan. Your internet service provider, many of them, or all of them, would be happy to walk you through setting up some security and privacy settings on your home internet. And so at this time, I'm going to take it and pass it along to our friends at the Child Advocacy Center.
Hello, my name is Karen Lazier. I'm the medical provider at the Burke County Children's Advocacy Center. We're a local nonprofit agency that assists law enforcement and child protective services in the investigation of crimes against children. Our goal of our service is to help local agencies conduct high-quality investigations while minimizing the impact of children in terms of the trauma to children as they go through investigations. And over the past year, we've worked with dozens of children in child abuse cases where technology was used to assist a perpetrator in having access to a child. So this is a study that was done in 2023 that showed in 2021, the huge increase in screen time for children. I honestly take some issue with these numbers because I think children are on screens a lot more than those numbers represent. But I think the main thing that I want to point out about that is that we all know what happened in 2020. Children were home, children were on technology more, largely because they had to be for school. Often parents were working, and so the access that children had for online perpetrators or just being online in general increased after COVID. So just some risks that parents need to be aware of. The dangers of social media. I think we've all probably had an experience where we've been on Facebook and suddenly we noticed that it's advertising something to us that we're like, I didn't know that I wanted to read that book or that I was looking at buying a new dress. The algorithms are designed to push us towards advertisements that we want, and the same is true with children. One thing that I find very shocking is this statistic that in 2023, the porn industry spent $1 billion on advertising. So the porn industry is a business just like any other business. And a lot of their advertising is targeted towards younger and younger users. Cyberbullying. So cyberbullying can be as impactful or more than in-person bullying. I would say in some ways the risks are even greater because it's chronic. If you think about if anyone's my age and grew up without cell phones, when you go to school and you're experiencing something that's difficult, you have some boundary from it. Hopefully when you go home, whatever your experience at school isn't necessarily following you home. You don't have your cell phone, you don't have internet access, and a lot of times now there's no boundary for kids if they're being bullied. The bullying's at school, the bullying can follow them home if it's cyberbullying. And it's also anonymous. Cyberbullying can impact concentration, it can lead to depression and anxiety. Of course, pornography. A 2023 study showed that the average age of exposure for children to porn was 12 years old, and that's the age that I've come across in many studies over the years. 73% of children in this particular study between the ages of 13 and 17 acknowledged encountering porn, and about half of that was intentional and half was unintentional. So I've come across quite a number of children who encountered porn maybe when they were watching Japanimation or watching something animated online. Dangers of multiplayer games, and we're going to get a little more into that here in a minute, but that's a big one. Sexting. Sexting is the sending and receiving of sexually explicit messages, videos, or photographs via mobile phones or other digital devices. And it creates a digital footprint, and it's also very normalized with some children. So if it's something that your peers are doing, you may not realize that it's something that carries a danger. And then sextortion, and our friends in law enforcement are going to talk more about this. I did want to share a case that I encountered this last year at the Children's Advocacy Center. This is a story of Molly, which is not her real name. She was 8, that is her true age. Molly was referred to us after her caregiver discovered that she was sending photographs and sexually explicit videos to a stranger online. And what happened with Molly is she was playing a multi-user game on her phone. She met a stranger who said he was 15, and he asked her to download a messaging app and directed her how to do that and started communicating with her through the messaging app. And then he ended up asking her to take explicit photographs and videos. She told him she was 15, not 8, because she wanted a friend, and she said that she gave him the photographs and videos that he asked for because she was afraid something bad would happen. She described that he told her to do it in an angry voice, meaning all caps in the message, and she's 8 years old, so she didn't know necessarily that he was physically far away and couldn't harm her. Once this was discovered, she was referred to us. It turns out that the 15-year-old kid lives somewhere in the Midwest and was in his 40s or 50s. So that's just an example of, I think it was Roblox, I'm not 100% sure. These are just some examples. These are the 9 most dangerous apps from one recent article. So Roblox is a multiplayer game where often there'll be rooms that are created that people will be invited into, and that's often how perpetrators will access a child. TikTok. Kick is a messaging app that allows users to chat with strangers anonymously. Whisper is an app that lets users share secrets anonymously. And Yubo is a social networking app that allows teens to connect with others based on their location. Hala is a random video chat app, and it connects users with strangers. And Ask FM is an open forum Q&A, and it's been linked to cyberbullying. One of the most concerning ones to me is, and there's others out there like this, but calculator, the calculator that has those specific symbols is actually not a calculator. It's a secret vault where people can share photos and videos that are inappropriate or they don't want others seeing. And Snapchat. Snapchat is known for the disappearing messages that parents may not have access to. So there's lots of ways your child may be accessing the internet. Cell phones, computers, gaming systems is a big one, smart TVs. I mentioned the other day when we did this presentation that we're pretty low tech at my house, but we have an Alexa, and I was at the grocery store and I received a phone call from my daughter who doesn't have a cell phone, and I was so confused. Oh, we don't have a house phone either. How she was managing to call me, she figured out the Alexa could call me, and that in and of itself is not such a bad thing, but I had no idea that she could do those things, so she could have called somebody else on there also. So this is a topic that is kind of near and dear to my heart, working in pediatrics. I think that sometimes when we hear this data and hear these stories, it can be very kind of doom and gloom and overwhelming, because it's very hard to think about just stepping back and closing the door to all technology. But I think if we see this as an opportunity to reshape our family values and to let technology not dictate our family culture, but let family values dictate our approach to technology, then it just opens up the doors to good conversations with our children. I often will tell the parents of my patients, especially adolescents, that don't use technology for rewards and punishment. Sit down together, come up with a family approach to technology and what that looks like for everybody, parents on the same page as the children, and just kind of start fresh with what that's going to be in your house. Some good examples that have already been mentioned are only using technology in public spaces. What I tell people is you can shape your space. You can shape your space to prioritize creativity and connection versus technology, and that might just be as simple as where we put the TV in our house, or where we dock our phones, how we set up our furniture. Take tech sabbaticals. You can choose times in your household where technology is off, whether it doesn't come on till a certain time during the day and it goes off at a certain time at night. Sometimes you have to be able to tolerate the quiet and the white spaces in order to build connection. Use screens with a purpose, not aimlessly or alone. Don't let technology drive you, but use them as a tool. Another tip I like is car time is conversation time. Sometimes I think being in the car with your kid is one of the times when the unexpected conversations tend to come up. Access to passwords, so there's no reason that children should have to have their passwords secret from their parents. And create an environment where it's safe for children to make mistakes. So it would be alarming as a parent if your child came to you and said they discovered porn, but our children need to know they can come to us no matter what, and we're not going to freak out, and that they can tell us what's concerning so that they'll be willing to tell us, and we can keep them safe from that and use that as a discussion point. So what I meant to mention, some of the tips I mentioned came from a book called The Tech-Wise Family by Andy Crouch. So I didn't put it up there, but that's a good recommendation. The AAP guidelines changed over the past few years. When I first started practicing, the guidelines were no screen time before 2 and a maximum of 2 hours a day. And the guidelines, I'm not crazy about them, but I think they changed kind of recognizing that we don't necessarily live in a world where we can say that anymore, especially when screens are so much a part of children's learning environments, parents' work environments. So the current recommendations are to avoid screen-based media except for video chatting for children under 18 months. Choose wisely between 18 and 24 months. And for children 2 to 5, limit screen time to 1 hour per day of high-quality programming. And then for children 6 and up, establish consistent limits on time spent using media and the types of media. These are just some resources for parents. A couple I want to highlight. Fight the New Drug has resources for parents. It also has a documentary that you can watch. You can watch with your children. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has a lot of resources should you come across a situation in your family and you're not sure how you should deal with it or how you should respond. Darkness to Light is a sexual abuse prevention and education program that we offer through the Child Advocacy Center, and our director would be happy to talk to anybody who's interested about bringing it to their community setting. And then, of course, the number one resource for protection is just parents protecting bedtime, providing supervision, model good behavior. Okay, and just some red flags to watch for. One thing I want to mention, sometimes when we talk about technology, I think we tend to focus on avoiding things that are unhealthy, like unhealthy gaming, unhealthy movies, sexualized media, but any overconsumption of media can be unhealthy for children. So even if you are only watching things that you deem as healthy and safe and okay, overconsuming can affect dopamine regulation in a child's brain. It can cause addiction that children withdraw from. So I would kind of keep all of these in mind regardless of how your child is using technology. But signs of self-injury, isolation, changes in mood, and I see changes in mood sometimes when parents try to lessen their child's access to media as their brain kind of adjusts to not having so much. Suicidal ideation, emotional withdrawal, those are all signs that you may see if a child is being bullied online, if they're being sent inappropriate images, if there's sextortion, if there's any concerns in terms of what they're accessing or just the amount of time they spend online. Okay, I'm going to pass this off to our friends in law enforcement.
Hi, I'm Angela Barlow. I'm a deputy for Burke County Sheriff's Office. I'm also an SRO at Drawn High School, and I've been an SRO in Burke County for almost 12 years.
I'm Alan Young. I'm also an SRO at Freedom High School, and I've been an SRO there 2 years total as an SRO for 6.
So I know it says another internet safety presentation. Some of this information may cross a little bit, but it may be just a little bit different. We're going to be talking specifically of some of the online things, and we're going to have a couple definitions too. I'm sure you've heard some words that you may not know exactly what they mean. So, next.
Personal information.
So this could include anything as far as license, passports, credit cards, phones if somebody else gets it, because it's usually got your bank information in it. So all those personal informations, kids also usually have those, especially in the high school.
So we have online enticement.
Well, that's usually started with cybersecurity. So online enticement involves an individual communicating with someone believed to be a child via the internet using the internet to commit a sexual offense or abduction and includes sextortion.
And sextortion.
Sextortion is a crime that is now sweeping the web. It's when an online predator tricks someone into giving them nude images or videos and then demands money, more images, or makes other demands threatening to share the images with the victim's friends and families if they don't comply.
Hacking. Hacking is when someone is trying to get your information and use it for whatever, something that's not right, something that's illegal. Then you have stalking. Stalking is when someone is following you, tracking you through your phone, tracking you through your car, There's just so many different ways they can track you and follow you. Identity theft.
Identity theft, I'm sure probably most of us have heard of it, and some of us probably have had it happen to us, where they take your credit card information and you get a call from the bank, and now you've got money spent in Texas that you've not even been to Texas. So they can steal your money, they can steal your identity, they can make new accounts underneath you that has your picture and use it however they see fit on that.
Online scams. That's when someone is trying to get you to use your email or your accounts to get something for them. As far as scams go, if you look at Burke County Sheriff's Office Facebook page, if there's any scams going on, we post them there to let people know what's going on, and you can, of course, anytime you think it's a scam, just call 911 and we'll be glad to help you out. And of course, the last one is cyberbullying.
And then cyberbullying is bullying that takes place over digital devices like cell phones, computers, and tablets. Cyberbullying can occur through texting, apps, online and social media, forums, gaming, and those, so many people, they can do it and be anonymous about it. So it's a scary thing when you think that someone could be picking on your children and you have no idea who it is. So
TMI. Online information can spread quickly to a lot of people. Reach people that you don't want it to and end up somewhere unexpected. That's when if you take pictures or post something like that, it can go to one person, that person can send it to two, and then that person send it to four, and by the end of the day, it'll be all over the world.
So your online privacy. So to maintain privacy and safety, avoid these. So these are the ones you want to avoid. Having your geolocation as a default setting in apps or games, or showing it on social media posts. Sharing family information, such as your parents' place of work. And to go a little bit further with that, if your parents are on vacation and your children that are 16, 17, 18 years old are home alone, not telling that your parents are on vacation and that you're home alone. Telling other people your passwords. Disclosing details or private information about your life. Moving conversations to a private platform. For example, moving from a game chat to Snapchat or other private chat. Sharing and or forwarding explicit content.
So what can you do? Have a different password for each account. Use privacy settings. Choose carefully who you friend. Limit access to your locations. Make sure you find the lock symbol or HTTPS. Don't share anyone else's personal information. Don't share your passwords. And of course, verify online before helping friends and family that request help online.
And then I had two that I added to this. Don't add anyone that you don't particularly know on your social media. And I know it's not just children who do this, but we see this a lot. They like the numbers. They want to see how many people they can, their friends. They want to see all these friends and how many likes they can get for a picture. But that's very dangerous if you don't know who you're adding. And sometimes as adults we do the same thing. And then also when we were getting this material to do this, one of the detectives that were talking to us about this said that because it's sent on your phone and unsent, it did not unsend on her watch. She has an Apple Watch. So it unsent on one location, but did not unsend on another. And she showed it to us while we were standing there. So those are little things that just because somebody says, well, I hit unsend before it actually sent, not necessarily. It could go to a tablet and for some reason it didn't unsend. But that was on her watch. So inappropriate content, it's inappropriate or illegal behavior, offensive language, threats of violence, underage drinking or drug use, And I know with underage drinking, a lot of times it actually starts in middle school. We've done a lot of different studies and things, or been to a lot of different conferences, and that actually starts in middle school, not everybody just assumes high school. And then we have hate speech. And that could be somebody yelling something down the hall, that could be somebody whispering something to somebody as they pass, that could be going back to the cyberbullying so nobody knows and it's an anonymous. So those are the inappropriate contents that we deal with.
Posting these things, they may ruin your reputation, get you in trouble with your parents, school, or the law, damage future opportunities. So when you're posting things like this, pictures, words, I mean, say for us, when they do a background check on us, they go to our Facebook page if we got one, and they'll dig that thing all the way back to you first started, just to see what you're saying, what some kind of content's in there. So you gotta be real careful what you put on there, because it could follow you for a lifetime.
So it says, ask yourself, would the adults in my life think this is appropriate? Could this get me in trouble? Do I like what this says about me? How could this impact my future? Who might I hurt? How would it feel if someone did it to me or someone I loved?
You probably get lots of messages every day, but what if you got one like this? What would you do? Would you send a picture? No? Cool. That's an easy way to protect yourself. But what if you'd chosen differently? What if you send a picture? They'd never share it with anyone else, right? Do you want the picture shared with others? Sorry, you no longer have a choice. It's out of your hands now, because sometimes people we trust break that trust. Maybe the person you sent the picture to showed it to some friends. Maybe they send it to a couple friends, who send it to a couple more friends, who... You get the idea. It spreads, and you never know who might see it. Your little brother, your mom, other people at school. I would never. Even strangers can get a hold of your picture. You never really know where that picture will end up. Don't look at it. How long it will be out there? Or what the consequences will be. Don't let others decide what happens to your image. Think before you share. Learn more at netsmarts.org. And hey, if your image is already out there, know that it's not your fault. For information about removing sexual pictures and videos from the internet, visit missingkids.org/gethelpnow.
So before you reshare, think about how would it make you feel if this was your friend or sibling in this picture? The harm you could cause by resharing, and the opportunity you have to stop re-victimizing that person.
So how can you help? Don't take images of yourself that you wouldn't want everyone to see. Don't forward anyone else's images. Don't ask or pressure anyone to share an image. Talk to an adult. And do not comply with any sex extortion demands.
And then it just gives us a quick definition again of the online enticement. Involves an individual communicating with someone believed to be a child via the internet with the intent to commit a sexual offense or abduction and includes sextortion.
How do you determine whether or not someone is sus when you first start talking to them online?
I don't know, maybe questions to ask?
Can you give us an example of that?
Like the study I live in?
Yeah, that's true.
I get a lot of those questions.
Really?
Yeah. No. I either leave them on delivered or block them, or just leave them on open.
How do you determine whether or not someone is
So grooming. Someone trying to groom children might flatter them, share or ask for revealing images, send them gifts, blackmail them, discuss inappropriate adult subjects such as dating or sex, make them feel guilty or ashamed, ask them to keep secrets, turn themselves against their family and friends, and ask to meet face to face.
That's if it's a girlfriend, green flag, but if it's a scenario where we pick, where it's like you're interested, that's a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah, but the thing is with Snapchat, you know what it's all used for, you know what I'm saying? You want to see the angle, you want to look pretty, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I put
Bunch
those
of
up.
filters. I'm going red flag.
I'm gonna go with red flag for just Snapchat. Snapchat is supposed to disappear. You take a picture, you send it, it disappears, it's gone. What happens when you send a picture and the person on the other end happens to have two phones? Because most people I know carry two phones, even children. It's crazy. So you take your other phone out and you go, and now you have those same images on your other phone, but it doesn't show that it's been screenshotted. So, because it's not been, and now that person has that image that you sent to them with the mindset that it was going to disappear. So those are things, and that's not just for Snapchat. That could be for any social media that you do. But that one particularly, because in the mind, it's okay. It's okay for me to take a picture, because as soon as I swap out of that and swap back in, that picture's gone. But is it?
So what can you do? Do not comply with the demands. Report it to the app. Do not delete the account. Visit missingkids.org. Get help now. Is your explicit content out there? Report to cybertipline.org, and then I would add that report to your parents and get your parents to report to law enforcement. But remember, parents, if you got a picture on their phone, don't take a picture of it and put it on your phone, because you're doing something that's really bad. You need to take their phone and get it to law enforcement and let them deal with it from there.
So together we can set privacy settings. I know sometimes those can be a little difficult to navigate. Google's wonderful, and there's a lot of step-by-steps that you can use for all different kinds of apps, social medias, your phone, everything. Blocking, I actually use this about every week with my own. I tell her, just block them. Somebody's bothering you, block them. You don't have to look at it. And then reporting. If they're at school, report it at school. We are at school. And if it's reported at school, most times it comes back to us through the school. And then report to the cyber tip line. Anyone who sends your child photos or videos containing obscene content. Anyone who asks your child to send sexual images, report them. Anyone speaking to your child in a sexual manner, report them. Anyone who asks your child to meet in person, report them. Call law enforcement. And then they've got a couple different things here. You can do the cybertipline.org. They've got a number, 1-800-THE-LOST, and that's through National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Tech options. Install filtering and monitoring software. consult your cell phone provider, research options for other mobile devices, look at individual apps, and explore built-in security features. And one of the coolest things that I saw is Deputy Barlow here has a screen that's on her phone that if you look at it straight ahead, you can see it, but if you move left or right, you can't see anything.
It's a privacy screen. You can get those for your phone, you can get them for your computers, and you can get them for your tablets. And that's not, I've got children. They send me pictures of themselves. They send, hey mom, does this look good on me or whatever. I don't want the person standing beside me to be able to see what my children are sending me. That's completely innocent, but what if they take their phone and want to take pictures off my phone? So that's why I've got one. I like it. So it's extra security for me and my family, I feel. It says, create a positive online environment. Be careful about what you share. Don't cyberbully. Don't encourage it. Don't request or reshare inappropriate content. There are charges that can come with that. So go to law enforcement. Don't share it. Don't send it. Report inappropriate behaviors. You can report those. Law enforcement, if you're at school personnel, they're very willing to help out with that.